Okay, it looks like there's a bit quiet this week, and I was a little bit late arriving, which I apologize for. But I'm going to go over a few things that I've been working on, particularly this week. Let me just firstly, I'll bring up the group and just see if there's any questions that have come up this week. Uh, There's some. So there's a couple different comments here about AI and SEO. It's still a very open subject at the moment. No one really knows what's going to happen, especially with generative AI, which is what you start seeing with Google right now. Um, that it's a lot of AI generated content, which is creating those listings. So it is going to be an unusual sort of year where it's going to go. Someone talked about AI. I did a coffee call last week. Was it last week? 14 days ago, 2 weeks ago, which I showed people how I showed you actually how to use some of the AI prompts, um, and how I wrote a prompt and put it together, and I showed you how to use it. I just double checked that uh, I used the whole what you actually asked. I wrote it down accurately there, which you can use the whole details in that actual prompt used at ChatGPT. So the whole thing was written using free tools specifically, and it's all about creating the title tags for your site. Reflections rather bad. No, there's not much I can do about it today. Um, yeah, create the title tags and meta descriptions for your site, and it'll create it in one single burst. Even if you've got 50 or 100 pages, it'll do the whole lot for you. And create the meta description, it'll create the title tags. And title tags are one of those things that's always made a difference in SEO. It's one thing that hasn't changed, basically. Uh, so it'll generate the whole lot for you within the exactly what Google is asking for and what's the requirements. So that's one thing that's sitting in the classroom area. I'll link down below this video to that. Is there any other questions that have popped up this week? Just let me have a look. Someone's asking about beginners' comments about SEO. There's plenty of that stuff around online. You can find plenty of it. Uh, Online skill level. How difficult is to rank with SEO and get leads compared with PPC? So you're comparing two totally different things. SEO is a long time game thing. It takes a lot of time to actually rank, regardless on which market you go into. Uh, it's in the accounting niche. Why do people opt out of PPC compared with SEO? Mostly because people think that they can do it for free. That's really what it is. I really don't think you can do SEO for free anymore. You're going to have to pay someone. You either have to write content or you're going to have to do quite a few elements which you don't. You need to get someone else to do them. Link building and creating links takes effort, it takes time, and it takes money to put into it. So it's going to take time. It's going to cost either way. If I had and I've talked about this before, if I had a choice, I would, and you had a really good website which was designed for conversion, and I'm looking into some landing pages that are working down this path, um, then I would do PPC first. And the reason I would do PPC first is that it's fast and you can spend some money and you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can spend a couple of $100. And that will tell you if your website converts for starters, and it will tell you what words actually convert. So there's two different elements to PPC. Most people think of it as just keywords, right? What you put in. But particularly in Google AdWords, sorry, I've got a cold, so not feeling that great, but I'll carry on with this. So in PPC, it's the keywords that you put in and advertise for. But Google then also chooses keywords that have converted. Let's say, for example, you thought, black cats was going to be your term that actually created leads on your website, for example. But what actually converted into leads was black cats with jackets, for example. And now you have the actual converting term that generates leads. So now you're not just after traffic, you want traffic that actually converts into action. Uh, and that's what you're after. And it's called a search term. It's in PPC. It's under Insights and Advice and Insights, I think it's called, in the left-hand menu. They've moved it around recently. So it can tell you what actually keywords, search terms actually converted. And that's why I would do PPC first. If you get those terms, it will tell you what's converted into leads. Now, PPC is definitely not an easy thing to do. It takes quite a few settings, and there are quite a few videos on YouTube that are pretty good showing you how to do it. But it's going to take time. It's going to take persistence, and it's going to take an investment. You're going to have to put some money into it to get it working. But once you have got it working, you then have the data to move us into your SEO site. And I've done this several times with client work before, where the data from PPC has told me what I needed to know to run the SEO. So that's that way. Not a fan of Wix. Talking about this a couple, why you shouldn't design your own website. It's simply you're not good enough. And I see builders and I see plumbers designing their own websites, and that's great if you just want a branding website. But if you actually want a website that you can send traffic to and convert, it's not going to be up to an equivalent level for people to trust you to turn into conversion. And that's why you go to a web development company. If you want a reference to one of them, I can more than happy point you on. I'll put some links in the bottom of this as well, who I use and why I use them too. Let's just double check anything else. This question around Claude 3.5 and DeepSeek. I haven't used a lot of DeepSeek. I've had a little bit of a look at it. It's talking about blogging. I don't recommend that using for blogging at all. If you have a look at one of my other lessons about um, how to actually create your content, AI content is going to get flagged at some point. It's too obvious to Google. Google's not stupid. They're going to realize if you generate a lot of content that's pure AI, they're going to work it out. And if it's not good for the user, then you're back at square one. What I have noticed recently is a lot of Google is dropping a lot of pages, which means it takes them out of their index. The way Google finds your pages is first it finds your home page, and then it spiders down and finds the other pages within your site, and then it puts it in what's called an index. So when Google searches, it brings up the snapshot of your website. It doesn't go directly to your website. It's already got a snapshot of it, and that's what it brings up in the results. But the simple fact is Google's been dropping pages because it's so easy to create a lot of content. And anybody can create, 20, 30, 40 articles. And it was a strategy around blogging. But it doesn't work anymore because it's too easy to do that. And then Google is only choosing those authoritative pages across the web. And then they'll drop the small ones that you've got because you have less authority. And that's the way it's always been. Um, the reason blogging was liked so much is because it showed clients a lot of content being created and how it was easy from a client agency perspective, and clients wanted it as well. So that's why. But things have changed. Things always change. It's just the way it is. Uh, I do have another book which I'm going to put up in the back end. It's around about um, conversion rate optimization, which is a fancy word for how do I make more people take the action that I want on my website? What do I change? How do I change it? And then what effect will it have? It's a long book, but as simple fact is that's what it's all about. If you can get more people to convert to taking action, then you need less people coming in. If your site is not great, you'd a lot more people, and even if you're paying for it, even if it's organic, it's harder work. So it's simple fact of getting more people to take the action you want. That's what it is. And that simple things can be as, as much as some of the big tests used to be, take section off a website and remove it, and then it'll software will test the two different versions against each other. Or you could change button colors, you could change designs, and you choose each one at a single time. So you change one and then you track it. And then and you can search for conversion rate optimization software or CRO software online, and it'll do it all for you. Um, but it's a matter of if you're running traffic to a particular site, you want it to convert better. And that's what CRO is all about. I'll drop the book. I've only just got it and the back end into a level. Otherwise, what I've been doing this week, a lot of Google Ads setup. Um, and it's simply the point is sometimes, most of the times the setups I'm looking at, they are too broad. So they try to go after, 7 different services for one company, and they've got a small budget, and that small budget is one of them was $7 a day, and I worked it out that they're only going to get less than 5 clicks in that market. And so there's not enough getting through the door, simply fact. They spread it too wide. It's better just to focus down on one service and go deep into that one particular service and spend your budget on that. Realizing that PPC still takes time. I allow 3 months for any training. First is discovery. The second is sort of decisions from the discovery. And the third is scaling after you've worked out which actual words are the ones that are working. And sometimes you've also got to do a lot of work on using landing pages or converting pages, because most websites are designed with brand in mind. They're not designed with performance in mind. And that's the difference. But that's a lot of what I've been doing. A lot of settings which Google automatically turns on in PPC are not in your benefit. And if you ever end up on a call with the team from Google, their goal is to get you to spend more money. That's a simple fact. There's a lot of the things they suggest, or even the suggestions within the platform, are designed for you to spend more money and go wider. They want you to go wider. They want you to advertise as many terms as possible so that you pay them. It's really simple how it works. You have to be the smarter one. You have to be the one that knows what works in your industry, and learn from that. And also another thing before I forget is sometimes you'll think there's way more search in your industry than there actually is. For example, if you think you only want to advertise 5 miles around where your business is, there may be almost no one searching for what you provide in that 5 miles. So you're not going to get any clicks, and you're going to have to expand it out and start with that base. That's why I call the first section discovery, because you're discovering what works and you're throwing a bit of mud at the wall and seeing what actually works. And that's going to cost you to do that. It's just money that you may not get back straight away. It's part of the process, and it's part of running a campaign. I remember a Google Ads campaign which I took over after a large company was e-commerce company had brought in a freelancer to do the setup, and he spent $25,000 in the first month, which was the budget, but that wasn't all profitable. And I'm not sure if they were advised properly or the company was advised properly. Then they turned everything off. So all the learning they got from that $25,000 is lost because they didn't take that learning and move forward. You've got to understand that that's how that system works. It is a matter of getting it in there, getting conversions, getting data, and then working out which keywords to turn off and which areas to stop and all these different things. So there is some benefit in it. So that's all I've got this week. I know it's a little bit quiet. I'm not feeling, as you worked it out, I've got a cold and I'm not the greatest condition. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. I think that what I will be doing next week is I'm going to be doing an advanced GA4 course to understand GA4. It seems like there's a lot of people um, who used to know the universal analytics, but when GA4 changed last year, everything's moved, everything's changed, and there's not many people that really know how it works. So I've put it on myself to take an advanced course and pick that up so that people can get more out of the analytics, and otherwise it's quite baffling. But there are some parts that are useful, and a lot of times I will take Google Analytics GA4 and move it into Data Studio. Data Studio pulls the data out. It's called Data Studio or Looker Data Studio, and it's just a way of displaying information from your analytics. And sometimes it's even easier to do that. I generated a Looker Studio sheet for myself for Google Ads because I couldn't find what I was looking for. So it's much easier sometimes. So that's all I've got for this week. Look, if you got any questions, anything you want to ask me, anything that's come up at any time about any subject as far as online marketing, email marketing, social ads, anything in that particular area or what you want to do, drop it in the group. And otherwise, bye for now.